Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
What is going on? And welcome to Take on the World with
Yours truly, Johnny.
and
Lexi.
and
Mr. Weed.
Podcast Derby Dog.
It is me, Alejandro.
Meow, meow.
and Mike D. We're going to continue the month of October with our homage to horror movie villains and their backstories. You like that, Lex? Very good.
It is. I hiccuped while I had it in my mouth, and I was like,
Oh, gee, you can't jump out of my hands.
Ollie, come
You're
here,
gonna
baby.
break yourself.
Come here.
I want that food.
Why do you have so much anxiety right now, baby?
My goodness.
So we're back, and this week is my choice for movies.
Another horror story topic. Mine
And
was confusing as all hell.
last week it started off confusing. I think we explained a little bit of it.
I hope so.
Pinhead.
A little bit. Oh,
So I have chosen one of the cult classic horror movies.
I'll say.
One of the best ever. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre
yeah.
and Leatherface. And there is a reason why I chose this topic.
Is it because you were chased by a homicidal chainsaw wielding maniac as a child?
That is not the reason.
Oh, okay.
Let me guess. You grew up in the 70s. You saw this on TV. Were scared shitless.
This movie did not scare me. Although it was very well done without showing a whole lot of actual gore.
Which I appreciate.
And we argued about this years ago. That you know what I'm about to say?
No.
Jamie Lee Curtis did not show such and such in this movie.
Do you know why? Because Jamie Lee Curtis was not in this movie.
She was not.
Oh, I'm sorry. We were talking about oh my god, I'm so
Halloween.
stupid. Yeah, Halloween. Well, we had that argument.
Yeah, okay. We're talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay, anyways, moving on. Moving right along. My bad. I'm ahead like 5 episodes.
Yeah, Johnny jump ahead.
Yeah.
You jumped to a whole nother topic.
Okay.
So
Jeepers.
this is the 1974 cult classic Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The movie was called one of the best and most influential horror movies of all time. And I will tell you, part of the idiocy that you just spouted out of your mouth was true. I did grow up in the 70s, and this movie was one of the ones that, 74 came in the theaters. I was told I could never watch because it's too gory.
So let me ask you this real quick.
Violent.
In the 70s, would they air these movies on TV?
About two years after they were in the theater.
Yeah.
Was it commercial free?
HBO mostly, so it was commercial free.
Okay. All right.
Because HBO was, I don't know if HBO was back in the 70s, but I seem to remember like the early 80s HBO being around.
I remember my grandfather having what they called, it was a black box.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it would somehow intercept all the, like, he mainly just watched Baywatch and was like, I can't wait for her bra to burst open.
I've watched scrambled porn through a satellite dish more than once as a child.
Well, what is that, a leg?
No, I use your imagination. It's cool. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was shot on a minuscule budget, even in that day. It's like $140,000. But it's probably one of the most recognized horror films of all time. The character Leatherface is probably one of the most recognized horror villains of all time. I know it made an impression on me back in those days.
I always think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is terrifying because, like, bro, that looks like that field right over there.
Yes.
Bro, everybody has
That
a
looks
chainsaw.
like that house right over there.
Yeah.
He could have dropped that chainsaw on his leg right in the street in front of our house.
Yeah, exactly. Like, insane. That, oh my gosh, I couldn't. No.
So the movie was banned in several countries, and many theaters stopped showing it after complaints about the violence in it. But it was like the violence was not gore violence. It was violence, but it was done in a way that the
Like
70s
suspense.
the 70s horror movies were done. It was done
so
perfect.
good. Yeah.
Even still, with all that, the movie grossed $30 million in U.S. box offices, with 16.5 million tickets in 1974.
Like, how much is that compared to 140,000? I feel like made bank on this movie.
Oh yeah, they did. I hope these guys had a whole lot of back end on this movie too.
Yeah.
If you don't know the story, then you've lived in a closet for most of your life because everybody knows the story, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But 5 teenagers go on a Sunday drive. They're going to an old homestead going through Texas countryside, and they fall victim to a cannibalistic family and a human skin mask wearing, chainsaw swinging killer named Leatherface. John, you see this movie?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Did you see the remake
I've seen them all.
with Jessica Biel?
Yes,
I actually refused.
I like them all.
I refused to watch the remake because you know my feelings on remakes.
Yes,
And this is one of the reasons why. I eventually did watch it, and I enjoyed it, but it was not like the original.
well, no,
Right.
no. I saw the one that I really, really enjoyed. Was I don't think Jessica Biel was in it, but it was the one where Arlie Ermey was in it.
I think it's the same one with Jessica Biel.
Is it? I don't remember now, but
So,
just the music that when he went downstairs and it was like that. How do I explain? Like the music was like the shot of a camera, like it was like, and it was just like really just like creepy and just
Yeah.
like the old cameras when they were recharging.
yeah.
It may surprise you, but the backstory Leatherface branches into reality.
Yes.
So while the plot was mostly fictional, Leatherface and some of the story's details were inspired by a murderer and grave robber, Edward Gein,
I think we might have mentioned this before.
the butcher of Plainfield.
Yes.
In fact, Edward Gein and his crimes have inspired several on-screen monsters.
I think you said it on purpose that way.
Including Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs,
Yes.
Norman Bates from Psycho, and there was a couple others that they queued off of this.
You ever watch his like actual backstory?
Yeah.
Who's
Ed Gein's?
Yes.
Oh my god, what a sick.
well, obviously I did because my research not only branches into Leatherface's movie background, but we are going to do the true crime of Ed Gein too,
Okay.
because I knew Lexi would love that.
Yeah, I actually have some more knowledge about this now.
Good.
I've seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre once, and
Just once.
yes, because I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
I hate it because it's just like so close to real for me.
It's scary.
Oh,
It's scary. Like
too
that's
real.
It's too real, right? Like I
It's
love.
something that gives you nightmares.
Right, it's something that like I have nightmares about already.
Well,
Like I don't want
that's
to watch
good.
a movie about it.
That's what a horror movie's supposed to do.
Exactly.
If you watch that movie once and got that, bravo. Fucking bravo to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because that's what a movie should do.
Yeah. Yeah. it's always
There's only one
freaked
movie
me
that's ever
out.
done that to me.
What was it?
Switch hitters.
Ocean's 11.
It's a movie called Magic. We talked about
Oh,
this.
okay. Is this that spy thriller?
It's a spy.
Yes.
Okay. Backstory on the spy thriller. Lexi's a bitch.
I am not.
No, it was a movie about a
What is
mannequin.
that noise?
I thought I heard Jack's down here.
I did too.
Oh, you know
Where's
what?
it
That's me.
coming
I'm
from?
sorry.
I hate you.
My leg was.
I apologize. Stop.
And like the claw marks going, like where fingernails are broken off.
So gross. Hate it. Hate it.
So Magic was about a mannequin.
Okay.
That came to life and killed people.
Oh, right. I do remember talking
And
about this.
I was a little kid, and I was told,
Oh, yeah, okay.
you can't watch this movie. You can't watch this movie. And after everybody passed out,
But mommy, I want to.
I went down and watched this movie, and it scared the fucking shit out of me.
Right? Because it's like mannequins look like they're going to come after you.
And like the fucked up thing is I've watched since then, and just after that, hundreds of horror movies, and none of them have bothered me, but that one did.
Yeah.
That one just freaked me out to the point where I can't listen to Heart's Magic Man. I like it comes on, and it's remember we talked about memories.
Yeah.
That memory comes back, and I got to turn it off.
Ali has his little paw prints all over your shirt.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. I was looking at like, what does he have on his shirt? I'm like, oh shit, that's Ali.
So first, we're going to look into the backstory
He's
of
falling asleep.
Leatherface in the movies, and I say backstories with an S because, as usual, and I will link this below. Hollywood sucks.
Yep.
There's Betty. Shoot to this movie.
Hollywood just cannot leave well enough alone.
Yep.
You can't. They can't just have a good movie and build on it or do something original. They have to take that movie and try to destroy it and make it something that it was not originally meant to be, and it always loses something.
There was one with Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, there was.
Is that in there? Am I jumping ahead?
You are Johnny Jump Ahead.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you.
All right.
Yo, but like, look at like. I just want to say, like, it is very annoying, John.
Reese Zellweger.
Please refrain. But I want to say that it's so awesome to see him seeing this research for the first time, and like his brain turning like clockwork, like the way that it would have when you're reading this for the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's really, really cool.
Whose brain turning?
Yours, like you can just, as you're seeing
we
this
saw
research.
smoke and everything come out.
No, not in that kind of way, but like you just see everything click, and you're like, oh my gosh! And then that's when you'll say, "Am I getting ahead?" And he says, "Yes."
Yeah, okay, I get you.
Yeah.
These are like movies that I grew up with.
Yeah. So it's cool.
I remember. I don't want to spoil it, but there's some things I remember from that movie. We'll touch on.
We'll touch on it, and we're going to come up to that. It's right now. So,
all right.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre was released October 11, 1974. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Wait. Okay, go ahead.
Was August 22nd, 1986. It was written and presented as a black comedy gore film.
What do you mean black comedy?
A black comedy.
Like
it's dark comedy.
Oh.
So
stop.
Okay.
No, I thought you meant like
no.
Only black people are in it. I'm not.
No. You racist. You racist bastard.
You know I'm not that.
I know. The first movie was done in a black comedy style, but nobody took it that way. Everybody just saw the violence and gore and thought, holy shit, this is a great horror movie.
Yeah.
They did not catch the comedic relief in it.
Yeah, I can't see
Where?
that.
I don't either.
I can't see that.
After reading this research,
Yeah, look at her.
I'd like to go back and watch it again and say, oh, okay, now I see it. But the second one
I don't think I would.
was almost like a parody film. The third film was Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. That was 1990. It was originally given an X rating by the studios.
Wow.
And then they recut it and got the R rating.
Well, listen, that's what I remember. Like a lot of horror movies were like,
Yeah.
you gonna see some titties.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Titties are gonna fly.
Oh yeah.
That was like part of like.
I think that's why, as a young boy, growing up in the 70s and 80s, I became such a horror fan because you were going to see titties.
Yeah, I like horror movies for other reasons, so it's okay.
So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation was March 12th, 1994. Renee Zellweger,
Forgot she was in this.
Matthew McConaughey. The film was screened as Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was shelved for 2 years, and Matthew McConaughey and Zellweger both became pretty big, major stars, and they said, "Fuck it, let's release it." So they released it in '97.
Did you watch this movie?
I have seen it.
This is the Matthew McConaughey is so over the top with his. He has like mechanical legs, like, and there's like this whole table scene where they're all at the family table, and they got these hostages. Renee Zellweger, I would suppose.
Well, this is before they were big, so.
And somebody else, and it's just over the top, like ridiculous, like with the mechanical.
All right.
With the legs and like she hits him and his leg freaks out and he's like, wow! Like it's so
It's so weird.
And I'm like, it's almost a comedy. I would have to revisit.
It was
this
made
and
in
say,
the
I would have to
comedy
rewatch this
style.
one again.
yeah, I would have to say that it's like both kind of horror but yet comedy because like there's
Right,
literally the
right.
sound of his like.
Does he make the sound with his mouth?
I wouldn't be surprised if he did. That would be even funnier.
Maybe Zellweger made it with her mouth.
Wow.
Never mind. I
So
would just say that.
So that was the end of the original installment of this series, and then in
That's a pretty long time frame.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, October 17th, 2003. This was a remake of the original. This was the one starring Jessica Biel, and of course Hollywood had to tweak the story. And in my humble opinion, it cheapens the film. I just don't like when they try to reboot shit and change the fucking story.
Yeah.
This is why, link below, Hollywood sucks.
I think for this one, I'm going to disagree with you on that.
Well,
Like-
you have the right to be wrong, and that's what's great about America.
I really, really enjoyed like the whoever did the music for this. Like kudos to this motherfucker.
Okay, the music was good.
Like I
Give
don't
me
even
the
think you
fucking
consider it
music.
music. It was just like sounds. Like how the original like Michael Myers was just
The sound effects and the music. The
Not even that. Like the sound when you saw Michael Myers, it's like it's creepy. You don't think so?
I think so.
I know
Yeah.
that somebody would get creeped out when my my phone alarm was the Halloween theme.
Yes.
That's
Just like the underlying bass of the whole thing. For me, I'm in music. I like music.
It's Michael Myers. So creepy.
so.
So creepy.
Now, let me ask you something. Did you see this one first, or did you see the other one
No,
first?
I saw that. Of course, I saw the originals first.
Right.
But I don't know why. I
don't
really
know.
like this one. Arlie Ermy was in it, and for me, what did it was they set it off with a preface of they went to this house, got killed, and then the cops found the video footage, and just the sound of the camera snapping a picture, and whatever that sound is after it, like the rewinding, and there was
the charging.
the claw marks in the wall, and all of a sudden it was out of nowhere, like a dark hallway, comes Leatherface, comes tearing at you, and then that's how they kind of start the film.
So the next one was Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. October 6th, 2006. It was presented as a prequel to the remake in 2003. Backstories were changed, and again, Hollywood screwed things up. And again, if you like this one, you're wrong. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D,
Excellent.
January 4th, 2013.
It's always great when they do
See,
that.
I can't judge it. I haven't
Now-
seen the movie.
This one was presented as a direct sequel to the 1974 original, and was intended to be the final movie of this franchise.
Okay.
But they can't leave well enough alone. It's Leatherface. Fuck it. So Leatherface was done
It's a moneymaker.
October 20th, 2017, and presented as a prequel to the original again. It takes place in the canon established by the 74 movie and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D.
I do. Now, I don't know if they did it with these two, but I do love when films can pull off that retro look with the camera.
Oh, I do too.
Like the Quentin Tarantino Death Proof.
Yeah.
Come on. Like he pulls off that whole 8mm. I don't know what they used to film back then.
8mm or whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But like
Super 8.
Even Kill Bill was done in that style.
Right. Yeah. Well, some of it, not all of it, but some of it.
With the choppy cuts and you know, people in Hollywood frowned upon that, the grindhouse style.
Right.
But that grindhouse style was what I grew up with. I loved it.
Yeah, I think furthermore, like looking on this, like when you look at a movie like this, it's not only what the story is. It's like the music for me, the cinematography for you.
Well, the music has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like things you don't like appreciate, like that. Maybe a young person be like, "Oh, I don't know. It's just a movie." It's like,
and it's not just the music, like you said. It's the sound effects, the way they do it.
The sound effects.
That what reoccurs in your brain is that recharging sound from a Polaroid camera.
You can see if you look that up.
Shit. What?
Chucky!
Chuck, look.
What's up, buddy?
Chuck's on camera. Hot dog. Oh, hot dog.
Oh shit!
Hot dog. Thank you, Chucky.
How you doing, man? Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me he was going up?
You never fuck around. You don't want to answer your phone or nothing. So
you called me?
I called you how many times you fucking answer.
You did not call me.
Yeah. No, I text you how many times.
You did not text me.
I texted you 2 weeks ago.
Lies. Lies.
No, you're fucking barking at me. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, look at him.
Let me see.
Get a knuckle sandwich.
Like that white one up there. Brown. Go lay the hell down.
The last thing we texted was the steak.
Don't answer the phone. Better off you text you.
I texted him today. He took like 5 hours to get back to me.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my god, you just took literally 27 hours to get back to us the other day.
I'm not. This isn't about me.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
You just don't answer.
Thank you, John. I'm gonna eat one of these now.
Where'd he from?
Elk from Maka.
Okay.
Elk from
Okay. You gonna heat him up?
Nope. Oh, you don't need to eat that fucking stuff.
No.
They're good.
All right. Well, here we go.
Put that wiener in your mouth, bro.
Yeah. Like usual. Just a little bit of mustard.
All
right.
Like chili.
You need a beer, Chucky?
No. They make their own chili and everything. I don't build that chili up at all. I love their chili. Now, Pete, I don't like their chili though. Now, them dogs I can fucking even Coney Islands I don't like.
Yeah.
Them I like. And he sold 150 of them.
I didn't really get. I was like a tiny bit of chili in there.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
But my brother Andy, he sold 150 of them for help.
They put hot dog.
They are.
Oh, fantastic.
David, and he ended up with I think 20 extra. David bought 10 of them off. David will go home and eat all 10 of them.
I don't blame him.
They are good though. Now fucking Seagull, Jack, he came over, he ordered 20 of them, right? So I had them over my house. He came over, so I'll just give them away. I don't want to take them home. Okay.
What?
I figure I'll bring 6 up for you.
Thank you, Charles.
So, and he's gonna give you one.
I don't want any. I'm good.
I did.
I'm good.
You don't want it.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
I gave Debbie one. He liked that. Debbie one.
That's a rockin' hot dog, man.
Next time they have them again, I'll let you know. They come on the Saturday.
The chili's on point.
Yeah,
It's not too much. It's not too little.
No, it's like a little hint
yeah.
there.
perfect.
That's like They always talk about the Crystal Palace, where the guy would line him up
Yeah,
on his arm.
yeah.
Think about that. Think about it. He'd line him up on his arm.
Sweaty armpit.
Yeah.
That's what gets the flavor.
Right.
But they were good fucking hot dogs.
I never had them.
Never.
I wasn't around here. I didn't move here till like mid-90s something.
Well, they had them in mid-90s.
I didn't go to fucking Reading. I lived in Wyomissing. I was bougie.
You bougie bitch.
Yeah,
I didn't even know what the hell I didn't even know what the hell Schuylkill County was. I didn't know there was.
You gotta go to school, Connie.
I want to get a hot dog.
Yeah, he can't go out at night.
No.
Motorcycle or nothing. Yeah, I got one now. You don't want to ride.
Yeah, he got a bike.
Yeah, I saw
I burnt my leg on it.
Yep.
Now you don't want to ride.
Well, we were out today shooting a little bit. Shooting
The
the
bows.
bows.
Yeah, wait to hit.
I was shooting shitty. I was shooting like John was last time. Although I didn't lose an arrow.
Well, I was kind of drunk last time. Like that was fucking 5 arrows down.
Excuses. Lex, can you grab me another Oktoberfest?
All right, I'm heading down.
Thanks, Chuck.
You gonna be up for a while?
Not back right now.
Maybe when we're done, I'll come down and sit.
Oh my god, that hot dog.
That hot dog was on point, bro.
Oh, they're fucking good. You eat them cold.
And where'd you get it from?
Elks
They
Lodge.
have them every once in a while they'll sell it for a fundraiser. My brother ordered 150 of them.
You ever thinking about me next time? Give me like a dozen of them. I'll split them with me and Mike. Give me the money. Well, he might eat all. He might eat all the dozen of them.
That one last time I got it, I ate it from by the way.
I can see that.
I had 4 last time.
Like, I'm full. We just ate, and I scarfed that thing down.
Well, see, I texted him for the hot dog.
He did not text me about the hot dogs.
Yeah, that's how he is.
I will show you every text message I have from Chuck.
He said he was lying.
Tony says that. Tony says I lie.
Tony.
Tony's the best storyteller in the world.
Oh, come on. Oh, he never liked me.
Nope. He just tell you a story. A
Well,
fable.
if you're ever thinking of me and those hot dogs come around again,
Well, next time they have them, I'll let him know. He can let you know.
I'll pay you whatever you want for them.
They're $1, I think they're $1.50 a piece.
Yeah, they're not.
They're going for a fundraiser.
Right.
To the elk.
Yeah.
It's a private club.
I love hot dogs. You can't find like a good
They're
No.
good. They're fucking good.
like shells.
Potts. Potts dog in
What the
Nazareth.
hell's that place? The hot dog, Johnny's Hot Dog House or whatever.
Out there at the last exit, right there. East in there.
Yeah,
Yakos. Yakos.
Is that no?
Potts. Potts is down there.
Not pot. My brother goes out there every once in a while. Picks them up. My dad used to go out there all the time. They're fucking good hot dogs. They put pickle on.
This is probably made by some little old lady. Like, oh,
Well,
it's
the
a
older people make that chili, and
family recipe.
it's not spicy.
No,
That
yeah,
chili
it
is
don't need to
fine.
be spicy.
I can eat that. I don't belch it up.
Yeah.
I get heartburn off.
I get heartburn when I look at shit. Like, you know, I take medication every day.
So why?
He's got a vagina, that's why.
I take medication.
Well, you might have a vagina too.
No, I'm just a man. My
Iron stomach.
No,
my
take that.
fallopian tubes don't absorb all the acid like yours do.
No, I get a prescription for it. Debbie gets it too.
Yeah.
Get vagina, so what's the difference?
Well, she should. She should get
There
heartburn
you
then.
go.
When she says
Touche.
she has sick,
No, she has a vagina.
well, she has heartburn,
Yes.
and she takes medicine, so
Right. Because she's got a vagina.
yeah, okay, she'll smack you.
She'll smack me because I say she has a vagina?
Just smack you because you look ugly.
That could be.
yeah. Yeah. All right, I'm going.
See you, Chuck. Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.
If you're still awake when we're done, I'll stop down.
It was hot.
Oh yeah, they're banging, dude.
God,
I'm gonna eat Lexi's.
keep that thing away from me.
I don't like all that stuff.
I might eat another one.
I don't like mustard.
Oh, that's the best
Hate
part.
it.
Onions,
Nope.
the little strip of chili.
Anyways, back to what we were
So
doing.
where were we?
A little strip of chili. That's where we're at.
So we were talking
We're right
about. Right, we had just finished the prior line.
So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It says 2021. I don't know that it came out. It was direct. It was supposed to be a direct sequel to the '74 film, disregarding every other movie in the franchise.
See,
As they should.
This is
And
where I feel
it's
they
like
ruin it.
And yeah, I know it's a reboot, and then a reboot
It's like
sequel.
Leatherface comes out. He's queer. He's transgender. He doesn't really have. He's wearing makeup instead of a mask.
Yeah, it's not human skin. It's human makeup.
I don't eat.
He powders his skin and makes it a powder on his face.
Listen,
It
Leatherface.
sounds like they were kind of going more for a Buffalo Bills type style.
Oh, absolutely.
really?
That's Buffalo Bill's backstory.
So Leatherface was the only character that appeared in every installment of this franchise.
What other films have Buffalo Bill been involved in, other than the classic
Hannibal.
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs? Has there been any other ones?
I don't know.
Obviously, this.
Because although Buffalo Bill was the main subject in that movie, he really wasn't.
You never saw him.
No, you saw him at the end with the
Yeah.
the basket, and he's tucking his dick in between his legs.
Yeah.
He wasn't that major part of.
real good.
Will you fuck me?
Yeah,
I fuck me. Yeah. Classic, bro. Classic. And the movie that came out after that, not to get off on a tangent, but the movie that came out after that, the prequel to, sequel.
Red
sequel,
Dragon.
sequel? Prequel, yes. Red Dragon. Red
Okay,
Dragon was
yeah.
really good as well.
I liked Red Dragon.
see,
I
now
really
you like
liked
Red
it.
Dragon. That's a.
It was
Just because it wasn't named Silence of the Lambs.
It was a
it's not a remake.
It's not a remake. It's
It came out as though it had happened before.
Yeah.
Like, this is why we are where we
Oh,
are.
I think
To
are we
me,
splitting hairs here now.
Yeah, to me, it's like I don't mind sequels. I hate reboots.
When you just take the series and you say, all right,
Right.
let's remake it.
Right.
Like-
I get it. It's unoriginal.
Like in this series, you go back to the 2003 Jessica Biel. It's a complete. It's as if the original movie never happened. I'm putting forth the original idea. Here's your movie. No, fuck you.
I really like the one with Jessica Biel.
Okay.
I'm just saying
Because
there's like,
Jessica Biel's hot, so
well, no, it's not that. It was
Yeah,
just
it
like
is.
the whole thing.
You
Where
like
they,
brunettes. It's cool.
I do, but they picked up that crazy chick that escaped from her thing, and like they were in a van, like smoking weed. And they're driving down this back road, and all of a sudden she pulls a revolver out of her no spot and blows her head off.
Her no square.
Yeah, out of
Stop.
her
Don't
void.
touch me there. That is my
no-no square.
But so we'll take oh shit, what was the one that I wanted to say before this? What was the one you were just talking about? The prequel.
Hannibal.
Hannibal.
The Red Dragon.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you like there was another Hannibal where it was a prequel.
I have no problem with that.
It was
It
was Hannibal as a kid,
right.
Mhm.
Did you guys see that one? And it went through like the whole Russian invasion, Germany war, and then he grew up. He was mute, and then he grew up and did his thing.
I don't think I saw that one.
No.
But
I don't remember what the hell that was.
Was that the
called.
series Hannibal?
No, it was a movie.
But see,
Yeah,
that,
it was. I
while it is attached to
Mhm.
a franchise, it's still an original idea. I have no problem with that. My problem with Hollywood is like this throughout this franchise because
there's no originality.
because Hollywood sucks so much.
Hawaiiality.
Yeah, Hawaii Alley. Many things about the character were changed just to fit the time
Ali.
because it was 1974 when all this started, so things were different then. Well,
Yeah.
instead of continuing on as if it was 1974, they want to make it 2021. Where everybody's fucking offended by everything.
Right. Well, I think the one that I like was
Come here, baby.
because it it was in the 70s, and they dressed the part. They were driving the car that was the part. The music was the part. There was Arlie Ermy. Nonetheless, he's a fucking rock star. I mean, how can you not like a film with that guy in it? He's a legend.
I'm sorry, baby.
I agree that when I finally watched it, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it still bothers me that they could have made another movie and not bolstered itself off the Leatherface name.
Right.
But what they did
Well,
is...
actually, what the hell was the name of that movie?
Which one?
The one with Jessica Biel.
It was called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. And then my
And were any
character
of
was
the other ones
called
called
The
that?
Beginning. Yeah, all of them.
The first one was called that.
Okay. Wasn't there one that was called Leatherface?
Yes.
That was
in 2017.
October 2017.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Mike. I want to hate it, but like that, I did like the movie.
Well, and I'm saying I liked it begrudgingly, but I resisted watching it. I did not watch it when it came out. I did not watch it until it was free on TV to watch it. That's just how I am. So, many things have changed over the franchise about his backstory, but some things did remain the same. He was always like a big baby, a man-child that was being controlled by this family who were psychos.
Right.
And
Predominantly the mother.
And yes, and he mostly killed out of the fear of the outside world.
Yeah.
Another constant was a Sawyer family had always been in the meat business. They worked in slaughterhouses. The one they started killing because their slaughterhouse was closing. They were all laid off. The other one, I think they owned a slaughterhouse. I don't know, but a slaughterhouse played a big role in it, and that just it had to be that to make sense.
Right.
Another thing was that they took the meat and they fed it to customers, and that wasn't in all of them, but that was a reoccurring theme.
Right.
So his real name in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was revealed to be Bubba Sawyer. But in the 2003 remake, it was changed to be Thomas Brown Hewitt. And in 2013, it was Jed Sawyer.
Which technically could also be, like, Bubba could be your nickname.
Yes.
Bless you, baby.
In the original film, and I knew this, but I didn't know the meaning behind it.
Mm-hmm.
In the original film, Leatherface wore 3 different masks. There was the killing mask.
It was a woman's mask.
There was the old lady mask, and there was the pretty woman mask.
Yep.
I'm
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
I did, but I didn't really connect it to the underlying thing.
Right.
Like, I knew he wore different masks, and I knew it was...
Like, the woman's mask is definitely a holler back to Ed Gein.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, but I knew it reflected his personality at the time he was doing the killings, but what they're saying as the writers and stuff, they're saying that he had no underlying personality, and he wore those masks to reflect what he was feeling when he was wearing that mask.
Right.
Which
his mood.
He
it's
used
like his mood ring.
He used the mask to express
boy.
himself because he himself could not do that, which makes sense. But I never thought of it that deep. So the 2003 remake and the 2006 prequel took place on one continuous timeline, and it gave the explanation that Leatherface was born disfigured and had a skin disease. He was bullied and mocked through school. So a reoccurring theme to our real life, real murders, things. He was picked on in school, sickly, and undersized.
The one thing that makes you become a serial killer. That's the 3 things.
Yeah, that's the
Hey,
trifecta.
you weren't here last.
You're sickly.
With the one podcast that we did. This is October now. But the last one we did that is going to be put up in August. We talked about who was it?
It was
The trash bag
killer.
Yeah. So he was sickly, undersized, and bullied in school.
Yeah.
And now you know, because you were here for other true crimes, that's a reoccurring theme with a lot of these people. Even with
Right.
Mr. Crowley,
Yeah.
Aleister Crowley. He was sickly, undersized, and picked on in school.
Yeah.
So they said that he was treated very poorly. He was aware he wasn't stupid, but he wasn't very bright. But he was aware that he was being treated poorly, and he was ashamed of his looks. And he started wearing a leather mask in school to kind of cover up the shame and cover up the deformities. And that habit followed him into adulthood, and it eventually became a part of him and his character. But not every Leatherface film has him as disfigured. In the 2017 film Leatherface, it specifically explores his childhood and his teenage years, and the story took another direction. You're introduced to Leatherface as a young boy who's celebrating his birthday, and despite the very creepy setting of the Sawyer household, he looks like a normal kid. He's not disfigured, there's no skin disease, he's just another normal kid. And in this version, the mask is made from one of his earliest victims, which is Nurse Lizzie, who was the nurse. I guess him and some people escaped from a mental institution, and she was with them. And that was his first victim.
Cool.
So
Cool.
that's pretty much the backstory for the movies for Leatherface. So now we'll get into the real life connection, which is Edward Gein. Which I'm glad you made it for this because I know you'll enjoy this.
Yes, I will.
See, now you say Gein, I say Gein.
Okay, Gein.
Mhm.
I say Munster.
Munster.
Tomato, tomato.
Potato, bitch.
Anyways, continue.
Hey, speaking of potato, did you see the Angry Cops when he was making fun of Space Force?
No.
They were watching the Space Force basic training, and one of the drill instructors said potato. Like,
I did see that, but I didn't see his version of it.
And all he did was just lambaste them. I'll have a potato. Potato. Anyway. So the Leatherface character, as well as Buffalo Bill and Psycho
Norman Bates.
were all loosely based on this guy. And when you hear some of this stuff, you're going to see why, because this dude was...
Ed Gein was...
a nut.
Yeah.
So he was
pretty fucked up.
He was known as the Mad Butcher, or the Plainfield Ghoul, or the Plainfield Butcher, or the Butcher of Plainfield.
I personally like the Mad Butcher and the Butcher of Plainfield. Because it's almost like Jack the Ripper, like it has that cadence.
That nomenclature of that
Yeah.
Classic serial killer
The one.
name.
Yeah.
And of course, every serial killer's got to have a middle name.
Sure.
Edward Theodore Gein.
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. The
Edward Theodore Bundy.
He was born in La Crosse County, Wisconsin in 1906, August 27th. His mother was Augustus Wilhelm, and she is going to play a major role in everything that happens with him. And you could see the branch off between
The Mask.
The Mask. You could see the branch off between Norman Bates with her.
Yeah.
You could see the branch off with Leatherface with her. I mean, deeply rooted shit.
Yeah.
So his mom, Augusta, and his father, George Philip, had a very strained relationship. He was an alcoholic. He had a hard time keeping a job. When he did work, he was a carpenter. He worked at a tannery, an insurance salesman. He owned a grocery store for some time, but sold it. And then the family left the city and moved to the country, 155-acre farm in Plainfield, Wisconsin. I guess so he could drink amongst the cows and the stars. I don't know. His mother Augusta was very controlling, domineering, and a deeply religious woman. And she isolated Edward and his brother and taught them that all women besides her were naturally promiscuous and instruments of the devil. Just like Bobby Boucher's mom.
Yeah.
Every afternoon, there was time put aside for them to read from the Bible. She would read whatever. But she would focus on the Old Testament, fire and brimstone, and Revelations, fire and brimstone, and divine retribution type stuff. Edward was shy and had very strange mannerisms. Like they said, he would laugh out loud for no reason.
Kind of like the newest depiction of Joker.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. I didn't even think of that.
Yep.
That newest depiction of Joker, he actually carried a note around saying, I laugh randomly.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the movie, it was Joker. Was the movie?
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
He carried a note around with him, and he would have these outbursts of laughter, and he would hand these notes to people to explain why he was laughing out loud for no reason.
No
Because
shit.
it, like, creeped people out.
I
Because he was
saw
just
bits and pieces of the movie.
he would just sit there.
Right. Yeah. That's creepy. You do that well, Michael.
Thank you.
Where's my note?
You don't get one.
There it is. A note to you. They assumed that he was like laughing at his own personal jokes, but like nobody was in on a joke except for him.
Meanwhile, this was like 100 years ago.
Yes.
Over 100 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
From when he was born.
So he's probably, 16 in the... So, like, damn near 100 years ago?
Yes.
90 years
That
ago?
reads 1940.
1940 is the next line, and he's like 34 years old there.
Right.
They're talking about grade school.
Well, I mean, regardless.
It was
said
about
like
100
15 years ago.
She's just being hyper. Bollock.
How many years ago did you say?
I said that says 1940.
Yeah,
That's not 100 years ago.
that's when his dad died.
It's a lot of years ago.
I didn't realize like that you were specifically saying like you just meant like the whole entire thing happened 100 years ago.
No, I meant to say like when he was from the point that he was laughing.
I
Yeah.
got it. John, I was with you.
So it might have been, I don't know, 75
Okay.
years ago? Like, just to give you like a
100.
a reference of time, like this is like before cell phones,
Yeah.
computers,
This is
like the
before,
modern telephone,
this is before a telephone.
condoms, you name it.
So, his mother would punish him whenever he tried to make friends. And despite his poor social development, he actually did pretty well in school, specifically reading. He was an excellent reader. So, April 1st, 1940, Edward's father died of heart failure caused by alcoholism at age 66. Edward and his brother began doing odd jobs around town as handymans, babysitting, to cover living expenses. Edward was actually a very good babysitter. He actually related well to kids, more so than adults.
I can see that.
Not in a perverted way.
Because he was a kid in his right.
Yeah.
That's pretty much probably where his life stopped.
Everyone in Plainfield considered him to be reliable and honest. Like if they said they were going to do a job, they did it. Edward was very attached to his mother, and anytime his brother would speak ill of the mother, like Edward would respond with like shock and hurt, like, "Oh my God, how could you say that about mommy?"
Yeah.
Oh no.
May 16th, 1944, Edward and his brother Henry were burning away marsh vegetation on the property. The fire got out of control, drew the attention of the local fire company. By the end of the day, the fire had been put out and the firefighters were gone. Edward then reported his brother missing. He was later found, after a search, dead, face down on the ground. He had been apparently dead for some time, and it appeared that the cause of death was heart failure, since he had not been burned or otherwise injured. So they say not otherwise injured, but I read another report that he had marks on his head. So the police dismissed the possibility of foul play and officially listed the cause as death by asphyxiation. It was speculated much later that it was very likely that Edward was actually responsible for Henry's death, kind of a Cain and Abel type thing.
Right.
So now Edward and his mother were alone, but it wasn't long after Henry's death that his mom had a stroke, like a massive stroke. And that left her like totally dependent on Edward. And it wasn't too long after that she had a second stroke. Her health failed very quickly. On December 29th, 1945, she died at age 67. He was devastated by her death. So now you're getting into the Norman Bates scenarios. He didn't know what to do. His mom was gone.
What do you think from here?
Good.
He held onto the farm, but boarded up rooms used by his mother, leaving them untouched and left pristine, while the rest of the house became increasingly messy.
So the rest of the house, and I saw photos of this house.
Yes, I've seen photos of this too. It's like, the kitchen is disgusting.
It is like a hoarder's nightmare.
Yeah. And then you walk into the mother's room, it's like pristine, cobwebs everywhere because it hasn't been touched. And maybe he took the stockings from her drawer and sniffed them a little bit. Who knows?
If I remember, I'll try to get some of those pictures. There's like 120 pictures of the house.
So Edward became interested in reading pulp magazines and adventure stories. So what's a pulp magazine?
Okay, that's what I was going to touch on. So I didn't know what a pulp magazine was either. I knew it was like the
I don't know.
I know what they are now. I assume they were like the almost a comic book of that era.
Yeah.
But they were like short stories, like adventure stories, but they called them pulp magazines because they were made so cheaply that the paper was basically the cheapest form of paper you could make, which was that gray paper.
Right. Yep.
So it was made from the pulp of the trees, and there was very little actual paper in it. It was just like pressed and dried.
Well, I guess they're probably mostly crime stories.
Yes, a lot of crime stories,
like Dick Tracy type stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Aliens,
right?
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So horror movies, horror magazines at the time.
Right.
And according to these pulp fiction magazines, particularly those involving cannibals or Nazi atrocities, which would be high. Well, no shit. Was this?
It's 45. His mom died, so 46, 47.
That's that right was there.
But he didn't only read the pulp magazines of that. The next one says
he studied anatomy texts and accounts of terrible experiments performed by the Nazis at concentration camps.
So apparently, he got hold of some kind of text where it was very descriptive of what was going on, the Nazi experiments and shit.
I'm sure that shit was probably pretty out there.
I don't know. Like you're talking about the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, but Mike, you think now, you think we're we went to war for that, so I'm sure. For me, I think that was less subjective because you would write that and say, "This is what we were fighting for." Nowadays, it's like, "Oh my God, you can't say those kind of things." I don't know. Prove me wrong. He then moved in. This is the part where I came into when I first researched this guy. This is what I found. He moved on to grave robbing, digging up recently buried female corpses from the nearby cemetery. He chose the bodies of women who were roughly the age of his mother at the time of her death. He dissected the bodies, keeping the sexual organs and making suits out of their skins. The inspiration for Buffalo Bill and Silence of the Lambs. He moved on from grave robbing to murder. On November 16, 1957, the owner of a hardware store, Bernice Warden, the owner of a hardware store, Bernice Warden disappeared. On the day during deer hunting season, the store had very few customers. The last receipt was for a gallon of antifreeze.
So when this happened, it was deer hunting season. only had like 5 or 6 customers in the store the day that she passed away, or that
Right.
she disappeared.
Right.
And apparently the
Oh.
night before, little Eddie was there, and why he didn't buy the antifreeze when he was there, I don't know. But he was supposed to. The son of the owner said he remembers he was coming back the next morning to buy antifreeze. I don't know why that's stuck in his head, but this is how he got caught.
Well, you know how all criminals make mistakes. They do dumb things that, in hindsight, when you look at it, like, shit.
So while his name wasn't on the receipt, he remembered that specific guy was coming back for antifreeze the next day. The last receipt was for antifreeze.
Right.
So,
on the evening of the same day, Gein was arrested at a grocery store, and a search of the Gein farm was conducted.
Oh.
Washara County sheriffs discovered Warden's decapitated and gutted female body hung upside down in the kitchen. She was hung by her legs with a crossbar at her ankles and ropes at her wrists. The torso was dressed out like a deer. She had been shot with a .22 caliber rifle and mutilated after death. Searching the rest of the house, they found...
this is the shit they found. Now this...
Go ahead, read it. Lexi, read it.
This is some... Like, I can't even imagine at that time these people going through this house and finding all this shit.
Yeah. I mean, you're going from, like, small town, like,
Yeah.
cop to, like, what in the actual F?
Lex?
In the house they found whole human bones and fragments, a wastebasket made of human skin covering several chair seats, skulls on his bedposts, female skulls, some with the top sawn off, bowls made from human skulls, a corset made from a female torso skinned from shoulders to waist, leggings made from human leg skin, masks made from the skin of female heads, Mary Hogan's face mask in a paper bag, Mary Hogan's skull in a box, Bernice Warden's entire head in a burlap sack, Bernice Warden's head in a plastic bag, or heart in a plastic bag in front of Gein's potbelly stove. 9 vulvae in a shoebox. A girl's dress and the vulvas of 2 females judged to have been about 15 years old. A belt made from female human nipples. 4 noses.
Hold on, stop right there. I want a nipple belt.
Close you can come is a studded belt.
Why don't you just have 4 noses instead?
How did he attach the nipples to the belt?
It's sewn. He has them all like it's like
Sewn
tanned,
together.
like tanned and sewn.
Did you see the lampshade?
They're insane.
I've seen like what I can find on the internet, but I mean, I haven't done any digging. Like the nipple belt? No, I didn't.
There
find
is
the
a
nipple belt.
lampshade made from human skin and human faces.
Yes.
Oh, right there it is.
A pair of lips on a window shade drawstring. A lampshade made of the skin of the human face. Fingernails from female fingers.
I am like they just.
Now, what I understand is he only dug up dead people in the cemetery. Did he actually kill people?
Yes.
Because it says like the 15-year-old girls, like that were they? Was he gravesite robbing?
He was grave robbing, and that's what we're gonna get into here. When he does his confession,
Did he murder?
When he does his confession, he actually confesses to murdering another woman, but then kind of recants it, or doesn't confirm the details. So the remains of at least 15 female bodies were found in the house. 15 different female bodies.
Yes.
Edward told investigators between 1947 and 1952 he made about 40 night visits to the local graveyard and exhumed recently buried bodies while he was in a, quote, dazed-like state. On about 30 of those occasions, he came out of the daze and left the graves in good order, and he left empty-handed. On other occasions, he dug up the graves of recently buried women who resembled his mother, took those bodies home, tanned the skin, and used them in his crafts. By exhuming several graves that Edward led him to, and looking at what was in them and compared to his confessions were largely corroborated. Soon after his mother's death, Edward began to create a woman suit so he could become his mother, to literally crawl into her skin. He denied having sex with any of the bodies that he exhumed, saying they smell too bad.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's a freak. I don't think the smell bothered him.
I'd dig them up out of the grave and dress them up on my countertop, make skin suits out of them. But having sex, that's way too far.
No, that's over the line, man.
I mean, come on, I have morals.
He also admitted to shooting Mary Hogan, a tavern owner missing since 1954, whose head was found in his house. Later, he denied memory of the details of that death. So he said, "Yeah, I killed her. I don't remember that." He was also considered a suspect in several other unsolved cases in Wisconsin. Now, I'm wondering if that was them just trying to pile the cases on him,
Probably.
or if there was actual evidence that he was guilty in those cases.
You know, it's easier to make the evidence fit the. How do they say that? It's easier to make the evidence fit the
Crime.
the perp than the perp to fit the evidence. Like there's a saying in law enforcement, and you'll see a lot of that where they just hammer on the case and like they get fixated on somebody. I'm not saying this guy wasn't a douchebag, and probably most likely, you know, I could see how he's already digging on people and making fucking skull lanterns in his
The point
house.
is, like, he admitted to it.
So
Yeah, but still, even that, I found, you gotta make, as a prosecutor, you have to eliminate, because a lot of people who do crimes, they'll admit to shit that they weren't accused of.
Yeah.
Or they admit to it and they weren't the perps.
So he was,
Anyhow, I digress.
he was implicated in a 1953 disappearance case of Evelyn Hartley, a lacrosse babysitter. During the interrogation, supposedly during the interrogation, the sheriff, Art Sheely, reportedly assaulted Edward by smashing his face into a brick wall several times. I do not see that happening ever. I have never witnessed anything like that. So his initial confession was ruled inadmissible by the judge. He spent 10 years in a mental hospital, and until he was declared fit to stand trial. He was later found guilty of murder, but also criminally insane. He spent the rest of his life in 2 mental institutions, dying at the age of 77 in 1984. But if you go through that, you can see how those crimes could have inspired
Yeah.
Leatherface, and
maybe Michael Myers. You think so?
I think Michael
maybe.
Myers is like a different archetype.
He was a young kid, had trauma in his life, and then don a mask to hide his perception.
It depends on which backstory you go with for Michael
Yeah,
Myers,
'cause there's
because there's one where
multiple
he's just a
backstories.
fucking crazy kid. There's one where he's like, you know, he's wearing the mask because his face is fucked up or whatever.
See, you guys know more than I do. The only one.
Well, that's because there's no continuity with the Michael Myers movies.
No,
The only one I
At all.
have connection with
that's
it
one
was-
where they just kept doing it and doing it
is
and
he's
doing
a
it and
kid.
doing it.
He has trauma, like his what the hell happens? Does he murder his whole family? I think.
Yes.
Yes, and you know. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. So
you could see how that could, Norman Bates, Buffalo Bill, and Leatherface could all come from
for sure,
his crimes
Right.
and
to come
Yeah.
together and gross $30 million
Right.
and 16.5 million tickets in sales.
it's. I guess the best stories have an ounce of truth in them. The best movies have an ounce of truth in them.
Yes, they do.
I always get excited when I watch a movie that is based on a real story. I just watched a movie the other day.
What about that Saipan movie?
We'll skip that one. I searched World War II movies on Xfinity the other day, and a movie came up, and I think I had actually seen it before. It was about one of the concentration camps in Poland,
Mhm.
and 300 of the concentration camp Jews escaped from the camp. There were 600 people in the camp. There was a mass escape attempt. Almost all 600 left at one time. Some of them got killed. Some of them got recaptured. But 300 actually made it out of the camp.
Yeah.
I found that to be an intriguing movie, mostly because there was a layer of truth to it. I'm sure it was dramatized and all that, but the layer of truth, I think, makes you think deeper into the movies. So that is
I wonder if that's
that is Leatherface, folks.
the concentration camp you're talking about. Is that Treblinka?
No, it was. You went to the one in
Austria.
Austria. This was in Poland. There was four in Poland.
Yeah, but
this
it
was
was
the
a different
largest
one.
of the one
That
in
one
Poland.
is in Poland. Treblinka was in Poland.
This was the largest of the four in Poland.
This was Warsaw.
It started with a B, I think.
Okay.
Falcon Burson?
Belgian-Person.
Am I saying that right?
That's one of them, yeah.
I'm looking it up. There it is. It starts with a S. Sobibor.
Oh, Sobibor. Okay. Yeah, I was in, what the heck is it called? Mauthausen.
Yes.
That's what I visited.
When you were 12.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, dude? 12 years old, visiting a concentration camp?
Well, I mean, good, because they sent children there to die that age.
Well, it was odd because Lexi got to go to Europe when she was 12.
Mhm.
And she traveled by herself,
Mhm.
played soccer internationally.
Mhm.
And when she came home, Deb was going to one of her appointments, and we always let the kids pick a museum to go to. And Lexi said she wanted to go to the Holocaust Museum. And I'm like, Lex, that's kind of really adult. Like, it's a very adult topic. I don't know if. And she's like, well, I was already to one of the concentration camps. I already know all about it. It's something that interests me. And I'm like, okay. So we went there. And actually, the day before we went, someone had a bomb, and there was a bomb threat in there.
Yeah.
So we went, and there was actually a very, very good story of a young man a child who was in a concentration camp, separated from his family, and years later reunited with some of his family in the United States. But it was his story, and Jacob's story or something like that. Do you remember?
I think so. It sounds right.
But like, I went in that museum, and I was emotionally touched, like almost to the point of tears.
Sure.
Looking at the shit that was in there, and Lexi just like I just didn't think a kid her age would deal with that as well as she did. And Nathan was a baby, so it didn't matter.
Like you said, like I'm not sure if you can handle it, but look at it. Like they sent kids that age and younger to go die in a gas chamber.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that's this movie that I watched. They said the guy was separated from his wife and his child, and he goes, "Oh, when will I get back with them?" And they the other people at the camp told him, if they got separated from you, you see that smoke over there? That's them.
Yeah. There's a really, really on Netflix. I don't know if you guys can handle it, but it's called Einsatzgruppen.
I think I've seen it.
It's fucking.
One of my favorite songs is called it's called Alive with Love or something like that. It's by, the name just left my brain. Alive with the Glory of Love, that's what it's called. And it's like a love story about like his grandparents or his great grandparents or something. And it's about, they were in Treblinka and they were like in love with each other. And they were like, the song's all about like, if I ever am separated from you, I will find you again. Like I'm always. It's just very, very.
Oh, the reason I watched that movie because Rutger Hauer was in it.
Don't know.
You don't know Rutger Hauer? Really?
It sounds good. So if you guys ever get a chance on Netflix, Einsatzgruppen, and this is the reason why we fight.
Yeah.
If there's any, evil in the world, that was it.
Rutger Hauer?
That's just other Christopher Walken.
No. Rutger Hauer was like I used to love watching his movies. He was in Blade Runner.
Okay.
You ever see Blade Runner?
I don't know how your back isn't killing you. My back's killing me.
Yes, my back is killing me.
All right. So anyway, we digress. That, my friends, is Leatherface, the
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Ed Gein. So we took that on. You go take on the world. Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Okay, Boomer.
Damn millennials. Wow.
Did not know that. Even flirters who are obviously mentally ill.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.